What's poppin', people? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going through Hulk Tube Motivation's top 5 god level physiques that shocked the bodybuilding world. Now, just so you know, I have already watched the beginning first couple minutes of this. I started recording, got interrupted, so I'm doing it again. So I do know a little bit of what's coming, but I just want to say, as far as comments from the first time, that I feel like I can make without ruining the video for you. I just want to say, first of all, the talking done on this is very professional. It really reminds me of those shows like Discovery Channel's like How's It Made. It's almost to the point where I'm like, I'm wondering, is it AI generated? Did he like type a script and have AI speak it? I don't know, but really well done. So if it is him, shout out to you, dude. Good, well done on your speaking. So I'm gonna go through it. There's gonna be a couple little cuts for ads and everything, as you can see, put into there, but good for him. Get his money. One day maybe I'll be there too. So we're going to go ahead and go through this. I'm going to give you my reactions to the placings, my opinions on the bodybuilders, any insight that I have on them, and yeah, let's have a good time.
Hello guys. Size, aesthetics, proportionality. These are all factors that affect the physique of a bodybuilder.
These are all things that they
some end up
include in
focusing
the judging
mostly
criteria
on
as
size.
well.
Some focus mostly on proportionality and aesthetics. There are very few bodybuilders that actually end up getting all of it right. And when that happens, it's an absolute god-level physique. And the whole bodybuilding world is left completely shook. Well, today, we'll be talking about the top 5 of these bodybuilders that have shocked the whole world. But before we start, if you're new to Hulk Tube Motivation, make sure to subscribe, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up.
Subscribe, give him a like, I already did.
Without further ado,
maybe subscribe and give a like to me too, who knows.
Number 1, Dorian Yates.
Yeah, Dorian was a big part of the mass monsters even existing in the first place. He was
back
really
in the 90s, his hype was absolutely insane, and that's because his body was absolutely insane as well. From 1992 to 1997, he won 6 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles. Out of all those years, in 1993, Mr. Olympia Dorian Yates came in just ridiculous that year, with this newfound level of mass with unprecedented size that had never been seen before, and just shocked the bodybuilding world. And also, he was diced to the toe. So that combination of rock-solid mass and bone-dry conditioning is pretty hard to beat. I think this is his best shape of Dorian Yates. It's like he was born to be a mass monster.
Yeah.
In fact, he was the very reason that the mass monster era even started. Because he took his physique to another level that had never been seen before in bodybuilding
you got to be able to do it too.
In this year, his legs were absolutely out of this world. His leg details went all the way up to his hips, with extremely
his legs were pretty crazy. You really have really good separation. The sartorius was really well developed in there.
His arm always looked massive.
I would agree that his arms were good, but I would definitely say he didn't have the best arms of his era. I would definitely say there were better arms on stage with him almost every time. But his arms, what they really did well for him is didn't outbalance anything in the rest of his physique. Same thing with his lower back. I could agree it is one of the best lower backs of all time, but it doesn't outpace his upper back or outpace his legs or anything. That's one of the best things about him is he was able to get everything huge instead of just individual parts. Marcus Rule, another great example of someone who was able to actually get their full body huge rather than just parts.
His story is actually pretty interesting. What started off as a knee injury turned out to be one of the most insane bodybuilding careers. Yes, his bodybuilding career started off from a knee injury. Throughout his career, he has took part in the Mr. Olympia competition 7 times, but he has never won. In 2002, Marcus Rule showed up in the Night of Champions as the freak of all freaks. In this show, Marcus definitely shocked the whole bodybuilding world.
Yeah, Marcus is a big deal. He was huge. There's a lot of people who were saying that he maybe should have beaten Dorian this year.
And monstrously huge.
I'm not sure if I agree, just because, like I was saying about Dorian, the biggest thing about Dorian is that he carries that
Marcus
mass
Rule's body was
the
nothing
class,
short of Venom.
You know?
He was the real-life version of Venom.
But yeah, that's
in
actually kind of funny
you can
that they make the
definitely see that
specific
comic book
Venom
villain look in Marcus.
comparison. Yeah, I can see it. But yeah, he's massive and he does look good. His balance is definitely solid. But the biggest, like I said, you could definitely say his arms are a little bigger than his chest. His shoulders are a little bigger than his chest. 2004 is a year a lot of people were saying
He
that he
placed
should
fifth
have
in the
beat
contest,
Jay.
but he looked absolutely incredible.
But he looked insane. His conditioning wasn't quite on point that year.
Number
He
3,
looked great, but it wasn't
Ronnie
his
Coleman.
best.
Next up, we have the retired American professional bodybuilder,
Ronnie the King.
Ronnie Coleman, who is actually nicknamed
Of
the
course.
King. Well, if your nickname is the King, then you did something right in your life. And
That's
yes, Coleman has definitely had some incredible achievements throughout his bodybuilding career. His biggest achievement is the fact that he won the Mr. Olympia competition 8 times.
Absolutely
insane. Isn't that absolutely insane?
Come on. Really? Don't
Anyway,
say my words.
2003 was the year where we saw the best Ronnie Coleman ever. That year, Ronnie came in bigger than ever like an absolute monster. And believe it or not, it left all the bodybuilding community completely stunned.
Best. Personally,
I'll tell you one thing right now,
he's come
that
in
probably
a
no
little
other
better condition,
bodybuilding past
but
or present could hope
he
to defeat
did
this
look pretty
version
insane.
of Big Ron.
He did look pretty insane.
It wasn't his prettiest shape, granted.
See, yeah,
but
that's
this
what I'm saying.
combination of size
A
and
little
conditioning
spilled
would be
over out of
almost
his shape. He had
impossible to
such
beat,
good
especially
lines.
from the back.
He blew him a
His
little too
lower
far
back,
out for this
the
show. He
Christmas
still looked
tree,
insane,
glutes
but
and hamstrings were ridiculously
a little
striated
much for my
to the
personal
point
taste.
that every single muscle fiber was visible through his thin skin. And this year, his skin was as thin as a paper. You could say he was a whole human anatomy diagram walking around.
Yeah?
Ronnie looked like an alien that year. He was absolutely ripped, and he weighed 290 pounds.
He was massive,
That
but
year,
he just
as
kind of
soon as
lost
he
a little
came,
bit of his
we
shape, a
knew
little bit
no
of
one could
proportion
beat
and
him.
balance.
And of course, no one did. Because of how insane his body was, they even made a cartoon character of Ronnie Coleman that was known as Super Alloy Darkshine.
I actually haven't heard that. That's kind of cool.
Everything.
Back from the ad breaks, and I've actually fixed the screen so you guys get the whole video. I didn't even realize that it was adjusting the screen off when it went full screen until this video. So adjusted it during the commercial break. Hopefully it's a little better for you guys for the rest of this video.
Number 4, Jay Cutler. On number 4, we have the retired American professional bodybuilder,
Jay was
Jay
super
Cutler.
impressive. Jay was great.
In the
great
bodybuilding
physique.
world, there
Not
are
the
so
prettiest,
many
but
debates
super
on who is better,
impressive.
Ronnie Coleman or Jay Cutler.
You know,
So,
I think the fact
mean,
that he was
let's
paired with
face it,
Ronnie
if
and
he's
the
being
end of
compared
Ronnie's
to the
career is
King,
definitely a big
Of
thing
course, he's one of the very
for
best.
the laurels of
He
his
has won the
physique.
Mr.
Again,
Olympia
incredible physique.
competition
I don't want to
4
sound like
different
I'm hating on his
times.
physique, but not the most aesthetic. Definitely an example of
Jay
the
Cutler won
mass
his
monster
first Mr.
era.
Olympia title in 2006.
There were definitely some people
But
who
after
had
that,
physiques
in
that,
2008,
no offense
he
to
lost
Jay, I
to Dexter
preferred
Jackson.
more to his. And also,
However,
not to mention,
that
I
wasn't
liked
the
his
end of it.
physique
In
when he
2009,
first was
he
winning
made
a lot more
crazy
than his physique
comeback
when he
with
was
his
later
best
winning,
ever
which he agrees with
performance,
himself.
and he won the competition again that year. Technically, this was the first time in the history of bodybuilding to reclaim the Olympia title after losing it.
Yeah?
In 2009, it was definitely his driest conditioning, and Jay had never looked this tight from the back before.
That sucks,
The one
bro.
thing
I'm
he's
sorry.
known most for is his iconic quad stomp pose. Sure, many other
Yeah, that's
bodybuilders
nuts.
do that
His
pose.
quad
For Jay
development's
Cutler, it's definitely
insane.
iconic,
The
and no one can do
separation,
it better
the
than
feathering,
him or
yeah,
even like
he's
him.
so good
It
at
was
that.
at the 2009 Mr. Olympia when he imprinted the single most defining image of his career in his iconic quad stomp pose. We can clearly see just
that
how
photo,
incredible
whoever
his
took that
body
photo,
was
man,
in that single
obviously
picture.
I know that's a drawing, but
Number 5.
whoever took the original
Phil
quad stomp
Heath.
photo, shout out to you, man. You made
To
history.
end the list, we have an American IFBB professional bodybuilder, Phil Heath, in a list full of retired bodybuilders. I think it's only fair that we also add one who's still in the middle of his bodybuilding career.
Okay, so this
Throughout his
video
career,
is clearly
he has
pretty
already
old.
won the Mr. Olympia competition 7 times.
With Phil
He won
here
it
being
consecutively
considered
from
in the prime of his
2011 to
career,
2017.
considering that he's technically... Has he technically
In
retired? I don't
2011,
know. He hasn't
Phil
been on
Heath
stage in
came pretty
years.
insane.
But he keeps hinting at maybe he's going to
It
come
was
back
his
or
very
not. I don't know.
first
Phil,
stand-up.
Phil's fantastic. One of the best physiques of all
And he
time.
ended up
Incredible
beating the
proportions,
legendary Jay
incredible
Cutler
conditioning,
and
incredible
left the whole
balance.
bodybuilding
Just
world amazed.
absolutely nuts. Phil's a
This is
fantastic
one year
physique
I
there.
think
He was
pretty
really
much
good
everyone
champion
would agree that
up
Phil
until the
deserved
point
the
where
stand-up.
the size kind
Because
of blew
his
out his gut and
conditioning was off
everything.
the
But
charts, with those
incredible
deep
bodybuilder.
cuts and separation.
definitely one
And
of the
this
most
HD
genetically
footage
gifted
highlights it perfectly.
and perfect
Do
bodybuilders
you
of
know
all
what
time,
makes
like
his body
genetically.
so special? Well, Phil has those 3D-looking muscles that absolutely no other bodybuilder has anywhere in the whole world. In 2011, Phil Heath brought back 90s level conditioning and aesthetic proportions with supremely full muscle bellies. You can clearly see them in those back and front shorts. I mean, look at that fullness in his back muscle bellies. And also, he has crazy 3D looking arms with popping chest and shoulders. He was at his very best look that year, with deep cut separations with round muscle bellies.
I don't know if I agree that 2011
was
his best look. He was pretty impressive in
absolutely
2012
out
as well.
of the world that year. It was truly
obviously
an
he looked
awesome
impressive
spectacle.
every year.
And
Obviously, as he got
Mr. Olympia
further along, he kind of blew out a little bit.
And with that,
but yeah, Phil's actually was fantastic.
Thank you so much for watching.
So here's where we kind of come to my issue with this list. Now that we've come to the end of it, is all of these physiques are mass monsters. You know, if we're talking about physiques that shock the bodybuilding world, you know, people were shocked before Dorian. You know, that happened a couple times. Not to mention people have been shocked since Dorian by things other than just muscle mass. And if we're talking about all these guys with muscle mass, put Big Ramy on there, you know. But yeah, that's my personal kind of quarrel with this Hulk Tube video. Sorry, man. If these are the top 5, then why aren't you including people like Arnold shocked the world because people weren't even ready for that level of muscle. Steve Reeves shocked the world because people were impressed by the amount of muscle he had, just the amount of muscle. Frank Zane shocked the world when he became Mr. Olympia despite not having that insane amount of muscle. There were lots of people who made a huge impact without, you know, just their amount of muscle. Brian Buchanan shocked the world because of his tiny weights. You know, there's so many other ways to be an incredible bodybuilder and shock the world and etc. than just being massive. So I will say, while these are all great bodybuilders, they all definitely did have fantastic moments. This is a great video, as well curated. Top 5, not in my opinion, especially because they all are mass monsters. They all kind of shocked the world in the same way. They all came in and shocked the world by being the best example yet at that moment of this type of bodybuilder, which that's great, but I don't know, I see myself asking them for a little bit more out of it. Great video, man. I'm subscribed. I'm going to probably check out a couple others, as long as you don't copyright strike this and don't hate me doing it. So yeah, you know, great video. I personally feel like there should have been a little more variety to the bodybuilders, in my opinion, if I were to make the video. Let me know if you guys want me to make my own video like this. Go ahead and like and subscribe below. More interaction you guys give with me, the more I can make, you know, videos that'll actually be catered to you guys and that you guys will enjoy more. So the more you let me know how I can help you, the more I can help. So like, subscribe, let me know what you want to see in the next video, and I'll see you next time.